I stood in front of the house my money built, staring at the mahogany front door I'd handpicked from a luxury catalog in Milan. My fingers curled around a key that no longer had a purpose. It didn't work anymore. Neither did I, in this place, in this life. My phone screen still glowed with her final message, scorching my chest with each word. You're no longer part of this family. Don't come back. She offered two paths, beg for her forgiveness, or walk away for good. I chose neither. I carved my own. We had been married for 9 years. 9 carefully curated years that gleamed on the surface like a magazine spread. Ava was everything the world applauded, refined, brilliant, a graduate of Harvard Business School, heir to a global shipping empire, beauty straight out of a 1950s movie reel. And me? I was the nobody who somehow made it. The street-smart kid who got lucky. The charity case she married to prove she had depth. That's how they framed it, when they thought I wasn't listening. But once, she did love me. Or at least, that's what I believed, before the private jets, before the celebrity interviews, before she decided I was a blemish on her flawless brand. There were moments I was sure of her love. When I was laid up in the hospital after the bike crash, she didn't leave my side, gripping my hand like it tethered her to reality. Or the day she handed me the deed to my late mother's home, paid off, restored in full, signed in her name but whispered, "It's always yours." This wasn't a dream I had built with her. It was real. It had walls, roots, meaning. Then she changed the locks. The betrayal didn't roar in like a hurricane. It crept in like a fissure beneath the floor, thin, silent, and growing. First, a dinner skipped with no apology. Then, a prolonged stare between her and Damien, her friend, or so she said. A new phone she clung to like oxygen. Locked screens. Changed passwords. Private calls that ended the second I stepped in. I didn't explode. I didn't confront. I studied. A man who yells is easy to ignore. A man who watches, he's a threat. I installed a quiet keylogger on her laptop. No alerts. No traces. I cloned her messages. I intercepted her calendar. She wasn't just plotting a separation. She was erasing me, rewriting the story without the inconvenient husband. Shell companies were already in place. Assets slowly being shifted. She'd hired a PR team to draft the story. Toxic partner. Emotionally manipulative. Irreconcilable differences. Even her therapist was part of the plot, crafting a narrative using carefully edited journal quotes, all while smiling at me across the dinner table like nothing had changed. She didn't want a divorce. She wanted to emerge reborn, untouched, unblamed. So, I gave her exactly what she wanted, absolute silence. For 2 weeks, I became invisible. Moved through the house like a ghost. She thought I was breaking. In reality, I was preparing. I met with my own attorney. Quiet. Surgical. Dangerous. I withdrew every dollar from the accounts she'd overlooked. I kept documentation. Every extravagant gift I gave her cataloged and dated. Legally recoverable. And then came the gem, screenshots of the email she sent to Damien, bragging about emotionally dismantling me while draining my finances. Courts don't care about feelings. They care about evidence. And I had volumes. My next move was Damien. He didn't recognize me when I walked into the lobby of his company. I told the receptionist I was a journalist researching ethical violations in tech mergers. When I slid those emails across his conference table, his face drained of color. Every sleepless night was suddenly worth it. I didn't say another word. I didn't have to. I didn't need to say a word. Men like Damien fall apart the moment liability enters the room. 2 days after she shut me out, I disappeared. No warning. Phone off. I froze all business accounts under joint control. Then, as co-trustee, I notified her company's board that Ava was experiencing psychological instability and was currently under medical evaluation. That triggered a rarely touched clause buried in her father's will, her financial holdings locked for reassessment. She had crowned herself untouchable. She forgot that even queens answer to constitutions. I simply reminded the court. That same night, she posted a sun-soaked photo aboard a yacht with Damien. The caption, unbothered, cute. A gossip blog picked it up before midnight. I anonymously submitted the image, complete with timestamps, and matched it to the financial activity she'd initiated that week. Timelines are fraud's worst enemy. Not long after, her attorney sent a message. "We have a situation. Call me immediately." I ignored it. Let them stew. 3 hours later, Ava arrived unannounced at the hotel where I was staying. Somehow, she slipped past the front desk. I opened the door and let her in. She looked thinner, not in body, but in presence. The kind of hollow panic people where when they realized the spotlight's moved on. "You violated my privacy," she snapped. I remained silent. "This won't stick. I'll destroy you." Still nothing. "For God's sake, say something." I finally looked her in the eyes. "I already have," I replied. "With facts. With strategy. With silence." She stared like she was seeing a stranger. Exactly what I intended. Then, I reached for the envelope on the table and pushed it toward her. Inside was a copy of the prenuptial agreement she had long forgotten. Never rescinded. Never revised. It stated clearly, in the event of infidelity, public disgrace, or damage to reputation, the aggrieved spouse would be entitled to 80% of shared assets. Signed. Dated. Notarized. Her fingers trembled as she held the paper. "I'll challenge this. You'll lose." She stood, her eyes glassy, barely concealing the fury beneath layers of designer cosmetics. "Was any of it real?" she asked. I almost smiled. "No," I said, "but that's always been your expertise, hasn't it?" She fought back, filed motions, leaked stories to blogs, shed rehearsed tears in interviews. But my documentation was airtight. The board placed her on indefinite leave. Damien vanished the moment he was subpoenaed. Her therapist lost their license for ethical breaches. I didn't rescue a broken marriage. I dismantled a calculated opponent. It's been half a year now. The house has new owners. The yacht sold within weeks. Sometimes I see her face pop up on low-rank podcasts, telling a new version of events, painting herself as the victim of emotional abuse and preaching about self-discovery. But the audience has moved on. There's always another influencer with a Messier meltdown. As for me, I rebuilt, quietly, methodically, on my own timeline. I didn't grovel. I didn't walk away. I took the third door. And before she ever saw it close, I erased her from it entirely.